Hey, what's up, everybody? Ryan Newple here, Knup Sports Show, episode 174. Thank you so much for tuning in and giving us a little time on a Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day you're listening or watching this. We really appreciate you tuning in. We have another awesome guest today. I'm super excited to hear all about what they have going on. But first off, man, we got to talk a little bit of football. We are just a few weeks away from football. Super excited to get going with football, right? It seems like we wait all the time for football season to come, and then when it gets here, it just flies by and goes by fast. So that's coming up over the next few weeks. Hopefully, we'll have some guests that are kind of centered around football over the next few weeks, so that's going to be fun as well. But today, we'll get right into the guests we have at hand. We have Mike Smith. Mike Smith with Sportradar, the head of ads. Mike, how are you today, my friend?
I'm great, Ryan. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited. We could talk football too. I would love to talk about football at the end.
Oh man, I love. I know I could talk football all day. I could do a whole focus show on that. But today we're here to talk a little bit about you. First off, where are you located, Mike? You're up in the Chicago area, correct?
Yep, Chicago suburbs. Two kids made me leave the city, but Wisconsin native displaced in the flatlands down here.
Oh wow, Wisconsin native living in Chicago. So are you Packers or Bears? You got to have
Oh,
one of them. Which one?
Packers all day,
Uh,
every day. Born and raised. Family has season tickets. Been watching the Packers. It's really been a blessed life. I mean, I was started becoming a sports fan at the beginning of the Favre era, just based on age, and it's been Favre and Aaron Rodgers my whole memory essentially.
and if people aren't familiar, I mean, I went to school up in the Chicago area, but up in that area, I mean, Packers Bears. There's no bigger rivalry than those two getting together on the football field. I mean, it's a bloodbath. The fans are diehard passionate about their team. So I can't imagine living in the Chicago suburbs and being a Packers fan that probably has some conflict at times.
Yeah, well, it's been great because we've really destroyed them my entire time. I've been down here for about 15 years, and it's been all Packers. So
Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of nice for me, actually.
For sure. Well, cool. Well, let's dive into you, Mike. I'm excited to hear more about Sport Radar and the ads program and everything you got going there. But first, tell me a little bit about yourself and kind of the career path you've taken to get to Sport Radar today.
Yeah, so somewhat circuitous, I think, for the sports industry. A lot of people get into sports at a younger age, but I really kind of hopped around a little bit until I got my first sales job. And I know you're a fan of sort of the experience of sales jobs or being in sales and kind of the value that brings. I remember you mentioning that on a previous episode, but I got a sales job. I was selling cloud-based software to food service companies. And so imagine, 15, gosh, this must have been 15, 16 years ago, trying to explain the cloud to someone who has a regional canned tomato shop, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And how they can leverage that to increase their sales and customer retention. And I was doing that job, and a friend of mine was in digital advertising. And he said, if you can explain to the person how to use cloud software to sell more cans of tomatoes, you can come over here and you can teach newspaper reps how to sell more digital advertising. And so my first foray into digital was really working at a company where we partnered with newspapers and helped them sell more digital advertising, and then really executed those campaigns for them. So after about 10 years in digital, give or take, I was speaking with my old roommate. So I went to the University of Wisconsin,
Hmm.
and my last year there, I won't say how many, but my last year there, my roommate played on the basketball team. And when he graduated, he went and played professional basketball in Austria. And when he retired from basketball there, he had met a lovely woman who he's now married to. And he settled in Vienna and got a job at Sportradar in the Vienna office. So flash forward 6 years, 5 years or so, he said, "Hey, there's an advertising opening at a sports company, it's the company I work at, and here we are." So it's really the perfect intersection of my two passions: my personal life, which is sports centric always, and my professional life, which is really all things digital advertising.
Yeah, that's really neat. That's really cool. So, I mean, most people listening to this or watching this show probably already know what Sport Radar is, but give us a high level company overview of Sport Radar as a whole.
Yeah, global sports data and technology company, and really at the core of what we do is powering all the data or all the places you would see sports data. So if you're ever looking for the score of a game, if you're ever playing fantasy sports, if you're ever watching a broadcast, if you're ever betting on sports, anywhere where sports data is, we are behind it for all intents and purposes. So I don't want to say, if we pulled the plug at Sportradar headquarters that the whole ecosystem would collapse, but it's not that far from it on any given Sunday or any given weekday. The way fans consume sports these days is so data centric that if we were to really remove Sportradar from the ecosystem, we'd lose so much of that fan engagement. And I think that's the direction that is the most interesting to me, right? Is that fan engagement piece.
Yeah, that's interesting. Kind of what you said there. You don't really think about that of the importance that Sportradar plays and that data plays in everything we do as sports betting fans, as fantasy sports fans, and just tickers and stats, and all of this is driven on something, and Sportradar is really driving that from a data side. So, please don't go down. Please keep things up. Get that tech team on it. Keep them on.
It's really interesting because it's such a B2B company that once you are aware of it, you see it everywhere. Your favorite websites, you'll see it credited at the bottom or somewhere in fine print. At the end of every broadcast, almost that you watch, you see, data provided by Sportradar, and then every once in a while you'll get even an announcer who will say, "Wow, where'd you pull that stat out of, Jimmy?" And he's like, "Oh, I got to thank the Sportradar team in the truck for putting that one in my ear." It's once you're aware of it, you see it everywhere.
That's cool. So you're kind of working on what's called ads. So AD:S. Let's pull that up here, and I want to hear a little bit more about this program, what ads is, and what kind of digital marketing things you're doing here with this program.
So one of the cool things about Sportradar is it's a very deep, thoughtful company. So ads seems like a really poor choice of names for an advertising company. It seems like, hey, come on, you guys are an advertiser, you can't think of anything better. But it actually has a really cool meaning. The AD is for advertising, and the S is for sponsorship. So combined, the ads is for ads and sponsorship because we offer both paid media or paid digital advertising as well as sponsorship services, which include everything from, as you can see on the screen, a consultation, brokerage, activation, you name it. And I think the takeaway, if I go back to the core and the roots of Sportradar as I explained it as a company, we're a sports data and technology company. And so what do you do if you have a lot of sports data? You have a ton of current employees who can build technology. How do you take that and really get to another part of the fan experience? Right now, we kind of power this passive fan experience. Fans are out there watching, consuming sports, but how do we really proactively put brands in front of these same fans that we're already interacting with? And so we built our own advertising technology, and that allows us to put our messaging, or I should say the messaging of our customers in front of sports fans at the right time with the right message. So one of the companies we acquired in 2021 that kind of added to that allows us to put live scores, live odds, live matchups in front of fans because, and I say this all the time, people complain about advertising products that they have no interest in buying. People love getting ads for stuff they want to buy. It's like, hey, this is great. This is exactly what I was looking for. And so that's really our goal, is to make sure that we're providing an experience that the consumer isn't going to complain about, right? We want a great experience for them. And in turn, that provides a great experience for our customers. We do it all with that kind of Sportradar twist, which is sports data, right? And proprietary technology. That's the difference.
So name drop. What types of companies are using this, this program? Are they operators? Are they true, just media companies? Who's using ads?
Yeah, so it's a mix. I mean, I'll stop short of naming names only because in the verticals we work in, people like to hoard that, right? I mean, if you're a football fan, Bill Belichick claims he doesn't care for analytics. That's smoke and mirrors, so that the other teams don't do what he's trying to do.
Right.
So think of the biggest sports books globally, right? Both here in the U.S. and the rest of the world. They, for all intents and purposes, we're covering or have worked with 95% of global sports books. I mean, certainly in the U.S.,
Wow.
we've done a little something with everyone, or we're constantly working with everyone. So it's a mix in the sports book space. But then I think what's really interesting and where we're starting to make more inroads is in the team, league, and brand space. And I think people think of us as a betting company because we have such a tight tie with sports betting. I mean, that's one where if we push the button, it would be big problems for sports books. But the reality is, it's sports and sports fans in general. And so if you're a team looking to get people to tune in, if you're a team looking to sell tickets, if you're Gatorade, think of the amount of money Gatorade spends on sports adjacent marketing. We built the tool to do one thing, and that's engage sports fans, right? We didn't think how do we get people to sign up for test drives, or how do we sell macaroni and cheese. We said, how do we engage sports fans? And all of our iterations and everything we do revolves around that.
So it's a fairly unique, or fairly new program here. Tell me a little bit about how it's going. I mean, has the response been positive so far? Are you seeing companies enjoying using this? How's the beginning days of ads been going?
It's great. I mean, customer satisfaction is about as good as it can get. I mean, obviously, you're speaking to the guy who's responsible for making sure me and the team keep everybody happy. But
Sure.
The response has been really great because, look, the reality is there are tons of tools out there. And, if you have kids, or you ever gone to IKEA and you got to build all this kind of low-level furniture, there is one specific Allen wrench that is going to get the job done, and it comes with the furniture, right? If you lose that thing, you're out of luck. But there's thousands of wrenches out there, right? So we're the Allen wrench for sports. There are wrenches that can do lots of other things. There are plenty of technology out there in advertising, but when it comes right down to engaging sports fans, we are the tool designed just to do that. And so I think when people finally start to work with us, the results they see are fantastic, and there's no need to catch us up to speed, right? If you're a car company and you hire an ad agency, you got to explain to them a little bit about the auto industry and what do we do and what's our value proposition. BetMGM doesn't need to tell me who they are. FanDuel doesn't
Right.
need to explain to me their place in the market. So, and certainly, I'm well aware of Major League Baseball and what they're trying to do and what their struggles are. So, it's really easy for our customers to take less time worrying about their campaigns and less time worrying about sort of the tread on the road, and more time about, hey, how do we build a cool car, right? We kind of give them that time back in their day to strategize.
Yeah. Well, very interesting. So one thing I always like to ask is, where are you headed in the future? So, we know where you are now. We know how things are going well here in the beginning. But what types of things do you have planned for the future of the ads program?
Well, I would love to say, like, we're going to find the next TikTok and we're going to make it sportsy and we're going to do something interesting. But if I was able to identify the next TikTok, I mean, you and I would be on a private jet to play Pebble Beach instead of chatting on the show. But the reality is that we don't have to. We sit on all the sports data, right? We are the gasoline to the engine, the oil to whatever you want to say, right? We're the cup of coffee in the morning that's going to get the whole thing going. So I'm really looking for, where are sports fans engaging, and then how can I take my data and my relationships, meaning Sportradar's relationships in the sports ecosystem, and just put that little twist on it to make it the right place for people to engage with sports fans. So I think the way we've sort of built out the team and built out our strategy here is, we're always looking for the next thing. We're always exploring for it, but we're not really going to jump on it unless we can put that sports twist on it. And so I think eventually we want to be, the biggest sports-centric digital agency there is. We certainly have a leg up on everybody, but a lot of incumbents out there, a lot of people to unseat. But it's going to be fun doing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, if people listening wanted to hear more about ads, where would they go? How would they get a hold of you? How would they check out more information? Where would they go?
Yeah, so obviously you could go to the website. You can read a little bit about it if you want to sort of passively explore it. If if you want more information, hey, you said at the beginning, right? You don't have to think about how to spell or pronounce my name. You're welcome to send me an email at mike.smith@sportradar.com. I answer all my own emails. One day I hope to have someone answer emails for me, but not there yet. So I'd love to chat. And the reality is, like, the best part about this ecosystem is when I used to work at my old company, I could tell the regional place people were by how little amount of time at the beginning they wanted to spend chit-chatting, right? Mm-hmm. East Coast, nobody wanted to chit-chat. Midwest, always chit-chat. West Coast, people were maybe late or had to end early because they were going surfing, and I'm not making that up. Sports, everyone wants to talk about sports. So if you send me an email and you want to talk about ads, we can also talk about sports. Fantasy football season's coming up. I am a diehard fantasy player. I love it. I think about it way too much. So happy to come on and chat about that with you, Ryan, or certainly if you send me an email and want to learn about ads, we can always talk a little fantasy in there as well.
Well, I'll make sure to put the email address and the links and all of that in the show notes. But let's talk a little fantasy football here before I let you off the hook. Have you had a draft yet, or not quite yet?
My big draft is this weekend. We are all approaching or at 40 years old, but we are all friends from college. Cool. And the rule is you have to be present in person at the draft. So we've got an Airbnb this weekend. I don't know how our wives all sort of married into it. Our kids know that when I leave the house in my Don Beebe jersey, I'm heading straight to a fantasy draft. So they're should be great. And sitting in the 5 slot, that's a great place to be this year. I think there's, some would say, a drop after 4, but I like the first 5. It's a personal opinion.
I think meeting up in person and doing those drafts like that is a lost art these days. I mean, that used to be like my favorite thing to do. And now, as everybody spread across the nation and doing their own thing, and it's just so easy to do it digitally, we've kind of lost that. So I commend you guys for kind of keeping strong to that and still doing that, because, man, best weekends of my life are doing some of those fantasy football weekend drafts, play some poker, watch sports, do whatever.
Yeah, our Airbnb's got a pool. We're going to have a diving contest. Mind you, I don't think any of us can dive all that well.
Oh boy.
A lot of back problems. We got a couple of fake ACLs in the group, but no, it should be a lot of fun. And really, we sit on all these panels and people talk about, kind of demystifying sports betting, right? Sportradar sits in this sports betting ecosystem, and the reality for leagues is they have to lean into this fantasy aspect. They have to figure out a way to do it well, because I don't think it takes a genius to point to fantasy football as a massive driver in the success of the NFL and fan engagement. I use my sister. My sister's the town librarian in a town of about 1,500 people in northern Wisconsin, and she plays fantasy football now with her husband and her father-in-law, and now she watches every game. She knows all the players' names. I mean, you couldn't catch her in front of a TV on a Sunday to save your life until she started playing. And now, if she wins a championship, she might name one of her cats after her captain. It's just that's the reality of it.
So you have to give me, I'm sure you get this question all the time, but you got a Shearer jersey in the background. So explain the significance. Just a fan? What's the significance there?
Yeah, so it's great at a European, a global company that I do get a handful of people who actually know what's going on back there. Besides, I don't know if you can see the Packer and the Brewer helmets, but
I don't, but I'm sure others can on a bigger screen.
I grew up playing soccer, and when they started playing the English League games, the Premier League over here used to be on whatever the Fox Sports equivalent was. It used to be called something else. And Alan Shearer was the best player on Blackburn at the time, and he was my favorite player. Reminded me a little bit of of me as a player, in the sense that he didn't look like much. You know, he was losing his hair at
Sure.
early mid-20s, but he couldn't stop scoring. Of course, I was nowhere near as good. And the next year he went to Newcastle, went back home. He's a hometown boy, and finished as the all-time leading goal scorer. He's my favorite player. Newcastle is still my favorite team. And I was a camp counselor and an exchange counselor who was from the UK, and her mom worked in sports. And they got me this. I don't know if you can see. It's actually signed by Aaron here too.
Cool.
So they got me this jersey as an end of summer sort of gift. Closest I've ever been to tears while receiving a gift. But I'm actually, fingers crossed. I gotta book the tickets. I'm still working out the logistics because of the kids. But Newcastle plays a home game Saturday, hosts Brentford Saturday, October 8th, and Sunday the 9th, the Packers play the Giants in London. So I'm sorting out that double dip and hopefully get to cross a game at St. James off the list.
That's amazing. That would be a bucket list moment, I'm sure, to both of those, right? Back to back in a weekend. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. You a soccer fan?
Not really. You know, I love all sports. I'm a sports fan for sure, but soccer's pretty mediocre on my list. I'm more of the traditional core U.S. facing sports, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. I think we're getting more and more as more kids grow up playing it who are interested in it. I think the difficulty from a viewing perspective is, you got to have a lot of subscriptions to catch all the games, especially if you're a fan of a single team. But the mornings are nice. Anyone with a newborn, I encourage you to get up and watch the 6:30 a.m. kickoffs, because it's a great way to, take one for the team, but watch some sports.
For sure. Well, Mike, I know we went a little over what I told you we'd do, but I really appreciate your time here. Any last words, anything we forgot to talk about, or anything you want to say before you go here?
No, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, it's fun to chat. It's fun to chat in kind of this forum. And certainly I think, I hope people kind of think, how do we engage fans? If you're out there and you're watching this and you're interested in the business, I'm always happy to talk. Hopefully my demeanor came off in this chat. Let's send me an email. Let's see if we can figure out a way to help your business grow.
Cool. Definitely. We'll make sure we put all those links out there. Make sure to email Mike if you're watching this for sure. Mike, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Hope to have you back on in several years when the ads program is booming and you have a lot more to talk about.
That sounds great, Ryan. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it. All right, that was Mike Smith, Sportradar ads program. Really good guy. Sportradar doing some amazing things in the industry. So really awesome privilege to talk to Mike. I urge you to go out there, check out what they have going on. We'll put the exact link to the Sportradar ads page out in the show notes. We'll put his email out there as well. All right, as always, thank you for your time. Really appreciate you tuning in. I'm Ryan Nupel at KNUP. You can check me out on LinkedIn or any other social media. You'll find me out there, but really appreciate your time. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.